Alrighty, hello everybody, and good early morning here. So, not a whole lot of time today, but gonna see what kind of testing we can get done, and actually wanted to show off one of the cool things that just happened with 93B. Actually, it was supposed to be part of the first 93, but apparently some stuff didn't quite stick as it should have. Long story short, we're just gonna start off with the early Necro. Basically, the cool part is, a lot of folks were asking for early Necromancer and all that kind of thing. Sure enough, it's here. So, well, I mean, it's here hidden behind a challenge, and in terms of, you know, future speedrun routing and all that kind of thing, like in the interest of all that kind of business. Okay. I noticed one thing that carried over here from vanilla, but we'll get that in just a second here. Mostly because, like, this lady right here, technically the bonuses on her weapon skills aren't putting her towards the point where she actually wants to use fists or axes. So she doesn't have a skill for the weapon that she came with. It happens. Anyway, what was I getting at here? You know what, actually? Yeah, no, you're just going to go axes. There we go. But yeah, so you can get an early Necro mark, but it's kind of like, it's one of those things where if you go at the end of the chapter, it's not that difficult to get. But technically, if you go for it the earliest that you can get to it, which is 2 battles after Chrysero, you can do it. It's just a bit more difficult, and you only have 2 attempts to get it. So yeah. Actually, wait, I forgot to get weapon skills in Mr. Potate here. There we go. Anyhow, that's what we're going to be going for here. So it should be at least mildly amusing. And then after that, we're just going to go probably load up a later game file, and then we're just going to go looking for invisible golems. Because that's one of the things he mentioned. There wasn't really a whole lot of other instruction as far as that went, so what I'm thinking is it's probably just if we go to any fight that had golems in it previously, when all of them got compressed into one golem type, that probably caused some potential jank at some point, so we're just going to go find as many golems as we can, see how that works out. And yeah, if you weren't here for the first one, look at this awesomeness. He actually comes in with a mixed setup here, so that's always cool. Alright, now let's go ahead and move you over here. Move Canopus over here, and yeah, Canopus' build is a little bit different as well. You got Spear, Defend Ring, and Shortbow. And yeah, in case you were wondering, he's actually he's D-ranked in all of his stuff now, so that you're not just sticking to the stuff he comes with. So yeah, there's actually a reason to use new stuff on him. It's pretty nice. And each of the early units that you get seems to be a bit of a tutorial towards a particular skill or a particular facet of the game. It's actually something that they probably really should have done in vanilla. Now that I've actually gone through and seen it. But for example, you get Canopus. Originally he's your introduction to finishers, as well as your introduction to flight, as well as introduction to unique characters. So you're getting 3 of them pretty much immediately, and I'm pretty sure most people just looked at him and just like immediately saw Orlando from FFT. Because yeah, you like pretty much no matter what, he just ran around wrecking everything. So basically, the way that it is now, so he's your introduction to flight. He's your introduction to flight and to your unique characters. You basically get introductions to range, or like a mixed use type characters with Vice, which then gets further shown with him, because then you look at him and it's like, hey, he's got a light spear. Hey, look at that, he's got a bow too. That's pretty neat. As far as hybrid casters, I mean, Cash was just kind of there, but you can control them now, as you can see. Now we're actually gonna do one of these type things, because she is gonna be a Necromancer in a little bit, so that's gonna be fun. So we're going to move her over here. Yeah, his damage isn't so good right now. So, I'm assuming this guy's probably a caster variant or something. Hard to tell. Hard to tell for sure right now, but I'm pretty sure he's not a Dex boy. So, either way. We're probably going to want to give him a different job after this. Make somebody else into the archer. So, as far as early game balance and all that kind of thing, I'm gonna show off the other characters as we get to them. But for example, your first introduction to augments is now Donalto or Felicia, whichever one you decide to go for. Your first introduction to sorry, I'm trying to figure out who's where here. Yeah, your first introduction to Rampart Aura aside from lands. Like, I'm discounting the stuff from the intro because that was, let's be honest, like it's a sloppy intro. I've seen a lot of people start the game either with the mod or just kind of by itself. They go through the intro and absolutely none of it sticks. It's just a big old info dump that just like none of it ever ends up having any lasting impact. Which is unfortunate because even when, you know, playing through it multiple times, I still didn't understand a lot of the concepts of it for years. Like, I mean, even the whole little thing of your actual distance on movement tiles determines your recovery time. Like, the whole thing of a particular cost being associated with the tile didn't even stick for a while because it wasn't a concept that was around in other games. So it seemed like, well, you know, maybe it must work like FF15, maybe the game's just saying it, I don't know. In vanilla, it was really hard to tell because weight values were all over the place, but now that they're uniform in the mod, it's much more noticeable. There's a lot more, like, active feedback going on. But, anywho, let's go ahead and do this kind of thingy. Oh, by the way, for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, there's a dude, Bruce Wizzy there. He's doing a really nice booklet of, well, it sounds like he's gonna start off with some of the stuff from my guide, and then add his stuff as well. And like he sent some pictures out of it and everything else. The thing is looking real snazzy, so looking forward to that coming out. But yeah, basically whatever articles or whatever else I end up adding, like I'm probably just gonna put them up on mine and send them directly to him. Just use all of it here to spread this info. So, it's gonna be a nice guide there. It definitely looks a lot more succinct. Like, it definitely looks a hell of a lot better than my site does. But yeah, it looks like a proper little game guide and everything. It's really cool. So, just looking forward to doing that whole collaborate-y type dealy. But yeah, I think he's definitely got the harder side of that whole thing. I just figure out weird tricks and stuff like that, and he's over there with all this actual visual design skill. That's always fun to have. Now, I'm not actually sure if anybody at all is going to be showing up on Saturday, but this is mostly going to be for the sake of having it for later. Just so you know. Because usually people don't show up on Saturdays. It's weird, because you'd think that's when everybody would have free time, but it seems like during the workday, it's like when the most people are around. So whatever works. But yeah, so yesterday I tested this. Yesterday I tested it, and it seemed to work just fine. In terms of earliest possible access Necro mark. Yeah, let's go for a bow here, I think. By the way, Vice is amazing with his bow here. Granted, he has to hit to be able to do stuff with it, but yeah, no, he's real good with it. Like, as far as early bow attackers, he's definitely gone back to his SNES roots here. Like, where he's actually the strong guy. 'Cause let's be honest, he looked like a total wimp in the remake. Like, especially comparing the two. It's just like, okay. So in the SNES version, he's like running around, two-shotting dudes all over the place. Doesn't even care. He's just beasting all over the place. He doesn't have any special weapons. The dude's just strong. You try to bring him along to training, he's like, no, seriously, look at how strong I am. It's just, don't worry about it. It's like, okay, this guy's arrogant, but dude's really good at hitting stuff. Fair enough. And so yeah, a bit more characterization there. So yeah, when he showed up in the remake, he's like, yeah, check it out, I got like slightly below average damage. Don't you want me in your team yet? And so then, not a whole lot happened. But yeah, feels good. Feels good. I like it. I really like that bow change. Like, he's basically there to show you that bows can be good. And it's not necessarily even a stat thing. Like, he honestly does pretty comparable damage to just any dex specialist, but you may not necessarily roll one at the very start. And especially since your first few units are essentially just rolled for random stats, more or less. A lot of them just might not be very good at the very start. Which, again, nice little change in the mod. If they roll sucky stats, that doesn't mean that they're actually having to climb up from nothing. It means that they're specialized at a particular thing, so you might probably, you know, want to go put them in a different job so they're better at that particular thing. Like, if they're real strong and everything, if they're real strong, they're probably going to be good at anything. Like, between the different variants, I think those are the ones I typically use the most. Like, yeah, your dex guys, they're really good at evasion and everything. You got your, You got your casters and everything. They're always going to be better with the old brain damage and everything, but, you know. Oh, by the way, you know what, actually, hang on. Take a step back here. Because I didn't show this off earlier, either. Troop Light. So, yeah, you get Troop Light out of Trajectory now. So, you know, it's very handy. It's very, very handy. It ups your accuracy by about 40%, give or take, depending on the circumstances. So yeah, very handy. So you're starting archers, your introduction to that. If you miss that by chance, Sarah comes with it as well. But I'm assuming at some point, like, it's nice because it gives you an early, like an early demo of the skills menu. Because before that, it was just it was until you ended up buying one of those skills. Which, on the one hand, I mean, there's the whole mindset of like, oh, I don't want anything, you know, I don't want anything handed to me or whatever else. But this is a nice little subtle way to do it. It's like, it's there, you notice it, you know, you maybe give it a shot. Because yeah, there's a lot to this game, there's a lot to love about it. So it's nice to be able to at least get the core mechanics out of the way early, you know? But, anyway. Like strategy games, I feel, are one of those ones where just that mentality of, you know, I don't want to know, you know, and I'm big smart man, I can figure out everything kind of thing. I don't think that really applies to a lot of strategy games. Like, granted, XCOM likes are the exception to that, but I feel like, especially SRPGs and that kind of thing, you really do want to at least know the mechanics. Like, it's arguably immersive in some cases, where, you know, where there's some background stuff going on, but when it comes to, like, you know, skills, they're an important part of this game. You kind of want to know what they do and where they are. So it's always nice. So let's go ahead and go here, pick up some rings, as you do. 5 of those, 2 of those, 4 of these, 4 of these. Let's go 2 of those. Let's go pick up some... let's pick up one of them. One of these. I'm just getting all my Chapter 1 shopping out of the way early. 2 knuckles. Pick up another one of those. I'm actually really starting to like that short bow and dagger build. I've been testing with it more and more, and yeah, it's actually pretty solid. Like, I'm assuming it's because of their really high dex and everything, but yeah, the daggers do great for them. Granted, they're really bad at close range fighting, but if you need something to finish, they're a really good finisher, especially for Chapter 1. Alright, so pick up an extra Gladius. Pick up one of them. Get a Volge, and that'll do. That'll do. Gonna skip this because I want to show it as the earliest available. So go ahead and get Canopus in here. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and put him on fists, because I just really like using fists on him. They don't weigh very much. The evasion bonus is nice. Currently, Vice is using that. Mr. Vice, how would you like to slap a sword on there? You'd love it? Fantastic. Alright, get your Mighty Strike as well. Mighty Strike's a bit more useful, I think. feel between the two of those. Alright, what's your deal? Hey, he's a dex guy. I wonder why, I wonder why his damage sucked. Usually the dex guys are really, really good. I forgot the gloves, that's why. Yeah, he probably was a... Oh, if he ran into a strength variant and he didn't have his gloves, yeah, that'll do it. That'll make his damage suck real good for a little bit. So if you didn't know, gloves are just like your universal early game, I want to do a slight bit more damage kind of situation. Alright, you're fine as that. You got a dex witch, which doesn't... It's gonna work for what she'll be later, so it'll work. Let's do this thing. And there we go. As you can see, Invisible Donalto is not a thing anymore. He's actually fixed. And he's visible. And yeah, a few folks were bothered by his drunk dad look. So he's now back to his vanilla portrait, but with the red model, which looks nicer. Like, I know that's a matter of opinion and all that kind of thing, but I know that the old blue and orange thing always bugged me personally. It's just something about it looked really off. I don't know. Never quite put my finger on it. It's like one of those many things that, like, when you were going through it the first time, like, let's say comparing Night of Lotus and then Vanilla, there were a lot of just, like, little details that felt, I don't know, just empty, you know? Like, it's not that I didn't necessarily like the art for Donalto, but, like, well, he did kind of look like some guy out of Boondock Saints or something, but in general, like, it wasn't the art specifically, it's just he seemed a little out of, I don't know, maybe it was just the model that seemed out of place. Then you get Sarah and Voltaire, is like, why are they generics that can't do, or they can't change a lot of things, like they can't go and become zombies, for example, or they can't go become angels, or what was the other one? It just basically the usual unique rules apply to them, but then they didn't get a unique sprite. So that's just kind of one of those things. It's not anything massive, but it just always seemed a little off. Like they felt better in SNES. So so like for example, when you ended up getting them in this, it's like, okay, you have two guys with slightly better stats. Cool. Nothing else really going on there. But then in SNES, it was like, okay, you have 2 more units to add to your first 9 that you get, because, you know, you maybe lost 1 or 2 in your very first fight, and it's like, okay, here's some replacements, you know? It's like, here's the mechanics, you keep going, some of these story characters will join you, they can be better than the other ones, and then you can keep hiring generics and training them up from scratch, and, you know, hopefully that works out for you. Okay, we're getting kind of a poor start here. That's fine. Just need them to stop dodging everything. Now, yeah, if you weren't here for yesterday's stream, it's a bit different now. This whole fight in general is just a bit different. So obviously you've got access to Donalto. You don't have to rush in to save him if you want to. You don't have to, you know, just kind of wait for him to take really, really dumb turns if you don't want to save him. Yeah, that's not going to reach. Let's go here. Actually, no, let's pop you over here. Need to get that middle under control. But yeah. So you get to... once you get to this point, you've already got 3 exorcists going, so that's pretty handy. Oh, sorry about the overhead map. It lags. It's an emulator thing. It's an emulator thing. No idea. But anyway, so what I was trying to get at here. So Sarah and Voltaire for this game are supposed to be like your Alos and Floros from KOL. Like, generally speaking, that's kind of the way I see it. Like, they're supposed to be your two characters that you got as a pair at the very start. They're always going to be there, and then they're like the generics that could, so to speak. But, I don't know. I just never got that sense with them. They were always just two extra characters. Whereas, like, with Alos and Floros there, I did so many runs of KOL. Like, weirdly enough, like, about equivalent to this game. And pretty much immediately, just, like, it was always like, okay, these two are always here. You know, these two are... Doesn't matter what. Anybody else can get killed off, I'm not resetting it. These two, yeah, they're getting reset for it. Like, that was my whole mentality as a kid. It was like, okay, you know, these two generics have to survive, and they have to meet their counterparts later in the game. So, if you either didn't play it or don't remember, when you first land, it's like, I think it's like, Jonathan and Sarah or something like that. But they're on your commanding guy's team, and so you basically fight alongside them in the intro. It's like, okay, look, here are these two characters. You know, they're just basic soldier grunts or whatever, but their names never change. And then later on, you fight him in some different story stuff. And yeah, sure enough, they've been promoted to knights by that point, and they've even got unique dialogue if they get killed off. So you know, that was such a neat little moment. It was, you know, acknowledging that you've got these generics that have made it that far. So it, you know, it was nice. It was really nice. All right, let's see. That one's going to be within range for the Valkyrie to finish off. Let's get you over here. Yeah. Perfect. So the nice thing about this fight is you actually come in with 3 exorcists, and they're all good now. Right, that's not great. That's fine. We got trajectory for this. And we shouldn't be running into the same issue from last time, so we should be able to finish this one off. Yeah, there we go. See? He's got decent damage now. It's fine. Man, one thing to always remember is that one occurrence of something isn't exactly the norm. It's like you'll run into some situations where some skill will suddenly get in your way much more than you would have expected. But like all those times when people completely forget about Rampart Aura until suddenly they can't get to a particular tile. Which is always fun. I think everyone's had that moment. And we're about to see the new cool Necro stuff happening. There we go. Ogre Mountain. How cool is that? So yeah, instead of Word of Pain spam, she's over here basically using ghosts to guide her bolts. It's great. I just love that ability. And you may have noticed the drops are different, of course. I don't know who to address, to be totally honest. It's like, on the one hand, I'm assuming there must be some people from yesterday. On the other hand, also it's a time that I'm not usually here. Oh. Who knows? Who knows? It's just gonna be a short one. As you do. Hell, it might be one of those ones that I get the notification afterwards, like, yeah, absolutely 0 people showed up. And it's like, okay, I completely understand. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's life. That's life for you. Alright, let's put you over here to start taking some hits. I need somebody blocking off this area so that the archer isn't getting threatened. So let's go ahead and pop you. Got the poison. Good. Let's get you pressuring these guys so that maybe they want to back off a little bit. Perfect. And let's get you pokenifying this one. Good. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Ah, that delicious coffee. Alright. So they decided to go for the attack, but that's fine. There we go, 40 damage. Not bad at all. Now these arrows will go right through leather. Like once they start breaking out mail and stuff like that, it's gonna be a bit harder to use them. It's not as bad as many folks realize as far as archers go. Like okay, the other day I was talking with a guy that was telling me like, oh, there's nothing redeemable about archers in this mod. And then I come to find out that he basically used a wizard variant on an archer, and that was like the one metric that he was going by. It's like, oh, but I had him as an archer. He's supposed to be getting all this hidden dex stuff in the background. It's like there's no more hidden stat growth. It's just your character is. That is all. Which happens. He did mention that he's changing some dialogue, so I'm hoping one of the intro things will, let me say, you know, something along the lines, maybe addressing the fact that your characters don't necessarily, don't get those hidden growths anymore. You know? As you do. You know, it's just, considering it's used in so many games, I kind of wonder, why more of them don't go for something static. It's like, it's gotta be a real pain in the neck to balance, you know? She's not gonna be hitting anything. Yeah, everyone's accuracy is pretty jacked in the rain. So, you know, as you'd expect. It's a little bit hard to hit stuff when it's all wet everywhere. Potentially, that's what she said. Kinda, sorta. It's a little bit unclear. Alright, let's get you over here. Cut off on that guy. Good. So he's gonna be easier to hit now. Yeah, early game swords are like, actually, hell, just throughout the entire game, they're just really good for your accuracy option. I didn't really think much of the whole like 10 or 15 agility or whatever else. Like, just didn't think it would do very much early on. But yeah, it's pretty noticeable. I'm not picking up any of these cards, because again, just in case they put anybody one stat over, I want to have the worst stats possible going into this fight here. So what we're gonna do... Yeah, you. Okay, that's a death card, that's not gonna matter. So basically, the way that the earliest that you can get a Necro in the mod at the moment is right after this fight you get a Rogue. So with that Rogue, you need to give them 2 fights in order to give them enough points to get Steel, and then you just basically pop that on them, and what you do is you just sprint everybody straight up to Nibith. You dedicate all your healers to the Rogue, and basically what will happen is your frontliners will go down to the Ghosts. Most likely everybody else is going to start falling down to the casters, because that fight is actually 3 levels higher than you at the time. In vanilla it was 5, and this one it's moved up to 7, not necessarily to make it harder, but to make it, well, just to make it more worthwhile, basically. So, how do I put this? The way that it's meant to be, and I'm going to check if he updated the dialogue. I still don't know if that's even a possible thing, but he did mention that he was going to do it. But basically the idea is, if you go there immediately after you go to Chrysero, well, you're not going to have Steel. So the idea was to create a situation where somebody would look at the fight and be like, okay, I have to come back here later in the chapter, this is an optional fight. And so he wanted to have Leonard's dialogue reflect that a bit better. So he basically just says, oh yeah, no, this guy totally murderized everyone. We have this tiny group though, let's go ahead and get him to save my, just basically to save my pride. Like, that's really the long and short of it. It's like, I don't want to look bad. You want to risk your lives for me? Like, no, not really. But, I mean, if there's rewards, though... So yeah. It's kind of what you do. And if you're wondering, by the way, this is a always guaranteed attack. So the only part that can miss of that attack is the curse that comes with it. So yeah, you get Wither out of it. It's a really really good move. The thing is, though, obviously their dex isn't terribly high, so they're not going to have that high of a max damage with it, but it's very consistent. So it's pretty handy. It's pretty handy. All right. So now we'll just go ahead and splat mold over here. There we go. Yeah, whatever. Just do a poke through. Come on. Oh. You can't do anything, you can't do anything. You totally can. Come on. 69%. Do it. Ah, good job 69ing with a Necromancer in a Rainstorm. That's weirdly specific. Okay. Get some Haunt Tomes, Slow, and other stuff out of this. So yeah, the Death card was a situational drop last time. It wasn't guaranteed. That would have been real cool, though. No! I meant to... We can just watch the cutscene. There we go. Sarah coming in as a rogue, so no more Silver Sarah, which I'm hoping that makes a comeback. I really like Silver Sarah, but apparently not everyone did. Let's go ahead and check the thing out real quick. Yeah, sorry for the random, like, snuffles and crap. That's residual cold. It's just, nah. Alright. So let's see here. Oh man, I'm totally gonna get in trouble. Alright. Okay, so yeah, dialogue isn't updated yet. I don't think it can just yet. Like, truth be told, I'm not sure if any of that can, because it seems... Well, no, it would have to be a separate function, because there's an option for text speed. So... I don't know. Anyway, so at this point, if we go over to Sarah here, sometimes she comes in with a crossbow, sometimes she comes in with a short bow, but she comes in with skills for both, that's why. So, we want her to get steel. So you need 140 for that. She doesn't really come in with any points, so we're going to go ahead and make that happen. And yeah, Donalto is your first guy to know augments. He comes in with them a little bit early. It's pretty awesome. Like, I love the fact that they come in with this stuff. In case you decide to get rid of your starting archer, Sarah comes in with trajectory as well, and then Voltaire here comes in with rep and aura now. So, you know, get to see more of their stuff. So we're just gonna... Didn't mean to do that. Didn't save either. Alright, well. I know what to do. I know what to do. We are going to give everybody infinite points real quick. So let's go over here. Go over to here. Turn this one off, but where's that infinite points? There we go. Yeah, all this stuff is absolutely amazing for when you want to make custom teams. Alright. So, we'll just assume we did those two battles already. We're going to be one level lower. Level requirement not met. Okay, We're gonna make this happen, dang it. Alright, edit cheat file. Go all the way down to the bottom here. I think I still have the one... Okay, all professionals level, whatever. Alright, I need a hex code for 4. We're gonna put everybody to level 4. Oh, hex code 4. Yes. Okay, here. Okay, so it's still a 4. So, change this to a 4. Go ahead and save this, and now, if we go over here and go all the way to the bottom, we'll get our nice little testing code. There we go. But she has to change classes now. Alright, we need one more, which is 99 of every class mark. There we go. And now, she'll be able to switch back and forth so that she's actually level 4, so that stuff can happen. So we'll just pop everybody in here for the time being. We'll take stuff out in a moment. But first, shenanigans. There we go. So now we can turn all that off. With the Voltaire, we're just gonna have him go back and forth here so that he has all this stuff. There we go. This is the best defensive setup you can give her with a crossbow early on, so pretty handy to have there. Everyone's going to be running mostly basic gear. This is why I picked up some stuff earlier. You will have 4 by the time you get steel. So you can use up to level 4 here. I mean, if you're already at the point where, you know, like there's really little reason to rush going into here in most cases. Like, you'll have 4 even if you're running every class up to this point. So there's little reason to rush it. But just for the sake of, if anyone's curious, that's why we're doing this. Okay, we don't have a heavy axe this time. Okay, switch it back and forth. So that he gets his level 4 here. Because I want him to get this card. That thing's pretty handy. Get him these bracers, that's fine there. Yeah, she's fine. Alright. I would recommend taking your starting healer and maybe giving them something like the knuckle setup. If you got Felicia, by the way, she'll actually come in with the knuckle setup, so that's always cool to have. Alright. Go ahead and save state and stuff in case stuff goes sideways. So ideally, what you want here, the archer won't do very much. So you can, I mean, you can have him. You can also not have him. It's up to you. I'm gonna take away the fencer here because she's not gonna do a whole lot of damage. I'm gonna take away this one because I'm not gonna be using, like, in this particular run. I wouldn't have continued using that class. You want Canopus off here on the side so that he can get within range within 2 turns. On top of that, you can learn Huaponga Winds at this point, because you're going to have 140 by that point, even without going and doing the seal training. So, you know, you can do that. Now replace axes with that, and we should be good to go. Yeah, because technically speaking, I can't add stuff to other people without the question mark being in the air. Normally I'd have a couple extra skills at this point. Alright. Somehow it feels like telling a friggin' necromancer to surrender is just not a thing that's ever gonna happen. Alright. So standard Canopus movement here. If you have any strengthening items, you would use them here. And despite the fact that I already have, for some reason these two count as class marks in that one sheet, but you can actually get early glass pumpkins now. So early casters have a chance to drop them. I believe there's one guaranteed one right after you get back to Almorica, your first fight against Brezen. I believe that one's actually guaranteed because I've gotten it every time that I've tested it. Okay, so here's what we do. We just bum rush everybody. The rogue, you want to try to have at least a little bit behind somebody else. If you've got any fortifying items or anything like that up to this point, now would be the time to use them, but we're not going to do that just yet. So yeah, these guys just plain bum rush. You want to leave at least one tile though. So leave a one tile opening for them to try to circle around you, because these first two always want to try and get to your flank for some reason. It's kind of unusual. Usually the AI is never that consistent in this game. But in this game, or rather in this fight, it seems to work out just fine. So there we go. Let's put you about... Actually no, let's move you here. So she'll move up. That's about there. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Usually want to maybe try to deal with the first one, but you can kind of just run past them. The idea is to trap Nibith on the stairs there, so he consistently runs forward, gets himself trapped, at least to some degree. Alright, take a few shots here just to assist. Bear in mind that we are technically under level. When I did this yesterday, if you're playing this naturally, you would be at 5 at this point, not 4. So all you really need to do is need to get 2 fighters up the stairs to block them. You can block off the back with Canopus, and then you just need to get the rogue somewhere close. So once you've done that, you're basically golden. What's the mod mentioned here? This is One Vision. It's an overhaul mod for Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together on the PSP. Essentially redoes all the equipment, all the skills, all of the everything, to just make the game more consistent, make it more balanced. Basically, just makes everything make sense. Some parts of it just puts in line with the rest of the series. Other parts of it tries to make more logical. Like for example, with your armor choices, instead of just like this vest gives like 80 armor and then like 3 points to mentality over here, and then 1 point to agility, and then like negative to strength for some reason. It's just like, okay, here's a vest. It gives you evasion, it gives you defense, it gives you a little bit of health. It's like, here's plate armor. It gives you a good amount of vitality, it gives you some defense, it gives you more health. So you got your casting robes over here, and you know, they're going to boost your intelligence and that kind of thing. So everything's a bit more specialized. It just makes more sense. Any changes on the storyline? Not exactly, but it does follow the storyline better. So, for example, it causes, it basically just causes the game to listen to its own story a lot more. Like, one of the things that was always a little bit funny to me was the fact that they held clerics in such high regard, but it was one of the most useless classes in the game. So now they're remade to the point where they can actually fight pretty decently. Like, they can equip helmets, they can use shields, claws, and hammers, and that kind of thing. Weapon options are a lot more expanded to be more similar to the SNES version. Like, there's a lot to this mod. There's an absolute ton. Like, if you're interested, I actually have a guide that I've, well, actually I have an entire website dedicated to the kind of stuff that he's done with this mod, because it's that good. But here, let's get that over there. Where is it? Where's my buttons? Here it is. But yeah, so it's over here. Just basically, there's One Vision, the guide, that's in there, and that'll explain some things. Yeah, it's really worth trying out. It's technically in version 0.93. Like that, right now right now this is version 93 that's in testing. So release of this one should be pretty soon. in terms of difficulty, because that question comes up. Let's see, Tactics Circuit PSP is my favorite so far. Yeah, it's a really good game. But obviously, it had a good amount of balance jank. So that's what this mod aims to fix. So don't expect a lot of the vanilla stuff to work, to some degree. So for example, you remember how archers basically had rocket launchers? So now they're basically the same balance that they are at the beginning of the game through all the games, but they have a bunch of new tricks, so that's always nice. Let's see, the script of PSP is better in English. Sorry, puppies over there in the kennel being all weird. But yeah, the script is really dang good. But they do give you some extra stuff depending on what you're doing. Like, if you've ever been a fan of the neutral route, like, personally, it was always my favorite just because of the way that it starts off. But you actually have unique characters from the unique trio now. So Tamuz, Festa, and Chamos. Before, there was very little reason to save them because they were just 3 generics with rank 1 skills that you got like halfway through the game, so you would never ever use them. So at this point, they are they're actually unique. Like Tamuz, for example, is essentially a Raven Man from March of the Black Queen. You have Festa and Chamos that are basically just kind of recolored unique, so they at least have a unique look to them. It's pretty cool. But basically, what I'm trying to show off here is something that technically shouldn't be possible. And actually, right there, I might have ruined the setup. But one of the things that had been requested from the mod was to get early access to a Necromancer, because you have to go so far into the game to get one. So, let's see. It would be cool if this game got re-released PS4. I mean, you can technically do it with some shenanigans. You can get it on there. Alright, yeah, I think I might have messed up the setup here. It's still possible. We'll see how this goes. I really should have set the level to 5, because that would have been more accurate to what we're going for here. But that's fine. That's fine. Anywho, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, personally, I like the way I feel. Like after almost 10 years of just doing all kinds of challenge runs and whatever on the original game, I feel like this has completely replaced it in my mind. Like it's that good. All right, so got our early rogue here. I'm gonna put her right here, so hopefully she can just kind of sneak through. Doesn't seem like many of our frontliners are getting through though. All right, let's see. Would be good to get this one out of the way, so we'll try. There we go. Alright, so we're starting to get him through. Only doing 17 for the moment, but that's fine. We're just creating a little opening for the rogue for now. Alright, so we're not going to need to take that second bow shot. We're just going to go up here and give him a bit of a punch. Perfect. I didn't get the poison, but we got Hopongo going, so that's fine. Like, for example, that's one of my favorite changes right there. Like with Canopus, with the Barton class and all that, it's actually unique to him now, because, you know, he came from March of the Black Queen. He should be the only Barton. But anyhow, the cool thing is that, yeah, he's the actual jack-of-all-trades kind of character at this point. His unique skills are actually useful. Like, I'm pretty sure nobody ever used that whole air reverse ability in the game. It's like, hey, you can make somebody slightly weaker to wind. So, yeah. The answer was always give him a longbow and watch as he completely squashes everything on the map. But not so much anymore. He's basically a very self-sustaining skirmisher now. So like running him with like a fist weapon for a little bit of evasion bonus, the chance to do damage, poison damage with it. Give him a short bow for harassing squishy units, which, by the way, yeah, short bows are actually useful all game now. They don't just suddenly drop off. You get stuff like Wapongo and things like that actually being useful, where he's getting like a self-regen and a sidestep buff. everything's got a use. Everything's got a use. And yeah, what we need here is to survive one more round in order to make this setup work. So there we go. Wait, a little bit sniffly. Sorry. There we go. So archers down. Ideally, yeah, I really should have put it to 5. Because that's where I was when I went for the early setup last time. But basically, as long as he doesn't go left, you get him trapped in the middle there, you get the rogue to use her 2-tile range steal. Then you get 2 chances at 41% to get that Necro more. Didn't need to do that. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a retry here. Alright, how far back do you go? Back to here? Perfect. Okay, at least we got a chance to retry it. So let's move you just to here. Now we're going to try to swing left a bit. As you do. Oh, by the way, as of this most recent patch, Gremlins and, Gremlins and Pumpkins actually got unique classes as well. So you were streaming yesterday as well? Well, that I was, and doing alright. Still got a little bit of leftover cold and all that kind of thing, but it's feeling pretty alright. Can't complain. There we go. Showing off the long-range steel. Which, by the way, all the Mr. Pump City, something that you may want to learn as well. Since you played the original, all of the basically all the experience for everything is just faster. So your skills actually go up at a reasonable rate now. Instead of like, hey, I swung this thing like 800 times. Congratulations, you're rank 2 now. It's like, but I'm already in chapter 4. Congratulations, you're rank 2 now. Good luck never getting to rank 8. But oh well. Yeah, I think the last time I did a vanilla run, the only one that actually got to rank 8 on anything was Ozma. Just because she was running dual swords and basically carrying every single fight. And even then, it took until Coda to get to rank 8. Whereas in this one, you typically will get to about rank 4 by the end of the game, and then, you know, usually by Coda, you're well to rank 8, as you should be. All those passives, like all your strengthens and fortifies and all that crap, gone, because, you know, they sucked. So, yeah, stuff's a lot easier to balance, and stuff's just generally a lot easier to play. And there's a lot less overall maintenance when it comes to all your units, because you're not going through like, okay, you know, I forgot to pick up strengthen on these guys over here, so they're suddenly, you know, doing real sucky damage by comparison. So that's always fun when that happens. And yeah, heavy weapons are actually heavy. But yeah, sorry to go off on a bit of a tangent there, so how are you, Mr. Nebular? Doing alright? You may notice that this damage that I'm doing is really piddly. This is the only time in the game that this will actually be the case anymore. Because there's... Essentially, this fight was raised up in terms of its level to make sure that somebody does have a chance to go take the class mark from Nibith here. So, yeah. It's over here. It's over here if you want it. But it's intended to be a bit of a challenge to get, so you're not supposed to get it this early. Like, he has specifically said, this is not the intended way to do it. So naturally, you know, last night I go and I mess with it, and I'm like, okay. So you'd be at about level 5, if you wanted to go for it as your very first priority. So what happens if I set everybody to level 4? This is a great idea with no possible downsides. You know, there were absolutely downsides. May have just slightly screwed myself here because I forgot to save. I was trying to get that one fight. But yeah, it's absolutely possible. But again, before you have to end the fight, you will wind up usually getting about 2 attempts to get it. So 2 rolls, 41%. You know, you can just wheel that mess if you want. But yeah, all steels for Chapter 1 have been improved, so they're actual decent ingredients now and everything. So, that's all well and fun. And there we go. We got the rogue through. So we'll put her right here. She probably won't get targeted. Interestingly enough, they tend to go for your back row here. Like, even after you've started getting units through and getting them close to Nibith, they'll still seemingly go after your back row. I'm assuming it's something with their AI. But certainly not going to complain, I'll tell you that much. Oh, and Pump City, by the way. Cool thing here is this. Basically, instead of being a revive item, your gems are actually now an evacuation item. So the only way there's only a few revives left in the game, period, so it's a bit more like SNES in that respect. But yeah, you're basically playing by the same rules that the AI is, so they don't cheat unless the boss, and you don't get a bunch of free item BS because, you know, because you are the protagonist, so everything is a bit more fair. Now, on paper that sounds like, oh, it's going to be hard mode now, and it's really not. Like, there's a little bit of a learning curve at first, but it's a lot easier to understand than it sounds. Like, everything is a lot more logical. Like, for example, like, a two-hander is probably the best example of this. Because I'm pretty sure most people at some point started playing the base game and they're like, okay, two-handers, they're a big beefy thing. This is going to be like the thing for when you want to hit stuff real good. And instead, its purpose was like, this is your lighter version of your one-handed weapon when compared to a one-hander plus a sword and board. So this is your lighter and slightly more damage option. It's like, but why? That's not logical at all. Anyway, so we go ahead and yoink this. Okay, I got the death card first. I just want to show that it's here, basically. There you go. So, Cultist mark. So there's your Necromancer mark. So that's always fun. He has mentioned that at some point he would actually do a proper, like, hard mode of this whole thing. Though, given how difficult it is to actually mod anything in this game, I wouldn't really hold out a lot for that. And honestly, it's kind of unnecessary because there's enough variation in the game to not really need a hard mode. Not to mention you can just kind of create your own hard mode at any given point anyway. But, you know, it is what it is. It's there if you should so choose. There we go. Alright, so Denim's acting pretty quick here, so here we go. Yeah, the first one would have been nice to get that stun off, but no luck. This is normally why you'd have Mighty Strike on Denim as well. So this is with... he's about half his level and everything else, and you can see he can still at least do damage. Do we have anyone else standing aside from these ones? Not really. The odds of actually being able to complete the fight, because, again, I forgot to save, and I did everything completely wrong. But, you know, this is fine. I just wanted to show that it's there, that it works now, and that you can control your AI in this fight. Because you couldn't do this yesterday. You couldn't control the AI, so it's there. Anywho, so yeah. Like, we're gonna go for it. No, there we go. So the numbers aren't there anymore, which is fine. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go look for invisible golems now. So I only have about 20 more minutes that I can do stuff before I have to go and get on with other things today. So let's go for one of those end game type situations. If I sing over it, maybe YouTube won't get mad at me. Alright, so we'll go for the speedrun file. Yes, yes, yes. Now, this is all well and good. First place that comes to mind when I'm thinking I want to go check on some golems. Let's go to Vanessa. As Vanessa Way typically has a crap load of them. Let's see how this goes. Ah, a bit of sniffles. Don't like them sniffles. It's kind of annoying because as soon as all the snow melted outside, you know, suddenly getting a cold. I had a cold and a flu and all kinds of other fun stuff. Now, as far as random battles, apparently some stuff is touched, but not all of it. Just so you know. So, as I understand it, there's kind of a very haphazard and cluster-plucky way that they stored the random battles. Like, they had, apparently, like, Chapter 1, followed by Palace of the Dead for some reason, followed by, like, Chapter 2, then a bunch of random crap, then the other chapters. It's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, bit of a cluster-plucky type situation. As you can see, they're just golems now. So if there's any golems, they are just golems. They're not 4 kinds, so you don't. There's really no reason for redundant golem types. So these ones seem fine, although interesting. All right, that's one thing to know right there. They. All right, we're in post-game, and they don't have accessories. Let's see. Let's go ahead and jot that down real quick. Okay, so random battles didn't get touched. That's weird that they're spawning in without accessories, though. So, let's go check some other maps then real quick. Man, that sniffle's gotta be annoying. I really apologize for the sniffles. Such should not be the case. Okay. Get the canyon. That probably won't have very much. Lambus might. Let's go here real quick. I'm gonna go check out Reason for reasons. And then let's see what we got going on over here. But yeah, if you two guys are still here, like that, or specifically Pump City, if you're still here, like the long and short of this mod, if you liked SNES, if you like Night of Lotus, it tries to make the game feel a lot more like those. It tries to make it respect the story a lot more. Again, I was starting to mention this earlier, but there's a whole thing where once you get into Coda, once you go through San Bronze and everything, Denim's just super surprised as soon as you get to the end. They're like, "Oh man, revival is actually possible!" You know, as you turn somebody into an Angel Knight. It's like, you've been able to revive people with a very common item from every single shop from the very start of the game, you doofus. So it feels real weird when that kind of stuff happens. Alright, anyway, now that we know that he hasn't messed with these, we're instead going to go back to actually right after Rhyme. Because that's the next one I can think of that has a lot of golems in it. Alright, Rhyme, where you at? Alright. Yes. It's all good, it's all fine. They should have some dudes guarding the front here. Alright, these guys don't have them. Okay, good to know. Right, that's the run I was just doing. Then again, you know what? I forgot I quick saved here. You know what we can do? We actually can do this one now that I think about it. We just need to set everybody to the appropriate level. Get over here, Notepad. I'm assuming that 5 is also going to be 5, so we'll set that one real quick. Go ahead and turn sheets on and cheats off. Which should, if everything went correctly, change everybody to the... Yeah, no, that didn't do it. Alright, whatever. Let's go ahead and reset then. And then we're going to go look for some more fights. Do some more story fights with golems in there. Like, I haven't really seen any invisible golems, but supposedly it's just if there's a golem that was of a different type to the standard golem that's there now, it would have changed into something else. When they're spawning in from the random fights, presumably it should only be able to spawn in the new golem. So we'll see. But alrighty. Random Palace of the Dead fight? Sure. Let's see what's going on here. Those golems look pretty visible to me. Flesh golem. Actually, yeah, these would be flesh golems one day. I think they were a mix of flesh and boulder. What about this one? Do you have any golems on you? Probably not. Worth a look, though. Alright, no golems here. We can take a look at their spawning a little bit. Oh, no, we got one. Yes, we got one! Alright. Found you, invisible golem. As Rakes begins to wonder why on earth I was starting with Palace of the Dead in the very center. Because, okay, because. Alright. Alright, what floor is this? 39. I'm pretty sure that this was in no way explored up till Palace of the Dead so far, so it would have been completely out of the scope of this last patch. But I think he's probably just looking for general info in terms of how they can be addressed, or whatever else. I don't know. The overall complication of this mod is way out of my depth, so like the sheer complication of even changing a name or something is ridiculous. And those are the same codes he's using to do all this. Boy, sorry, random hiccups. There we go. You know, let's get a picture of that sucker real quick. Alright, there we go. Get that sent over, so that the magician can figure out how to fix it. We'll go ahead and retreat out of this and look for some other ones. And in fact, you know what? I think we're gonna turn on cheat time here. So if you ever want to go and see a bunch of the game really, really quickly and test out a bunch of things that you would otherwise not be able to, you know, you'd be doing for quite a while. There's this beautiful cheat called Infinite Actions here. Pretty much available from any standard cheat set. And then all you do is you slap some really high and mighty busted gear on Mr. Denim, and just watch as he carves a bloody swath through the entire universe. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this. Like in this particular thing, I had that particular thing set up just for exploring the Palace of the Dead, testing out different maps here and whatever else, and specifically for making an undead team this one time where I was making when I was doing the AI fights. Which, by the way, those are happening for this as well. So that's always fun. Basically, as soon as he gets a turn, these guys are toast. So yeah, as long as you don't use the skill menu, you just have infinite turns. So, bam. and this is one of the highest damages you can get in the game. Like, I believe the Ogre set is actually still second to the Dragon Slayer, but like the Dragon Slayer's got something like -40 or whatever agility, so unless you've got a guaranteed hit move, it's just not going to happen. I always loved this theme until hearing it 80 times. Alright, I think we're gonna also drop some exorcisms here as well, just to see if anything neat happens. Guess we're oh, actually no, I forgot to set him up with that. So yeah, you can give him holy water and things like that. But in this case, it's not really gonna do us much good. Hang on, why can you not get up there? Probably because I'm not at the edge. Alright, let's go over here. Like, ideally, what you'd probably want to do is just put a city ring and a Dragon Slayer. But this worked out just as well. Speaking of, city rings, inferno rings, kraken rings, all that kind of business, actually useful in the mod. So, previously their setup was, like, you basically get the same stats as your basic rings. So your standard, like, I think it was like +5 or whatever else. To attack and defense, and then that was it. So now they give all kinds of different bonuses, like strength bonuses, bit bonuses, and whatever else. And they've got a pretty good spattering of them, so there's actually a reason to use them as a ring, with their traversal method being kind of like secondary effect, which actually applies to a lot of things. Like I think the trajectory is a good example of that. All the movement rings are a good example of that. There's just a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. Like honestly, I wish he'd get hired to make a game at some point, because I'm pretty sure it would be freaking amazing. Because the guy knows how to make really interesting changes. Alright. And away we go. Yeah, stick TP3 on them if you want to make this go even faster. You get like Sonic Blade that does like 700 damage. Just because it scales up all crazy like with the Ogre set. I think I saw it get up to 700 once, and that was against like a fairy or something. Typically you'll see more like 500. Plump. And done. Okay. What else we got here? Any more invisible golems? I hope that doesn't mean that something has to be reverted or some such. Oh no. He's trying to charm him over there. He's an unstoppable mega beast. Actually, he's got a fire crest, so he's immune anyway. Hi there, Mr. Procow. How you doing? How you doing this fine morning? We'll say it showed up right at the very end of this thing. I actually was only staying here for a few more minutes because I'm just testing out a few little thingies, just to see what happens. No recent desert adventures, hopefully. Oh, actually, so Mr. Cow, while you're here, I was considering doing a video pretty soon on as far as Armored Core goes, because there was this whole thing the other day where I had shared a thing on Reddit that there was this meme that a guy had posted up like, oh yeah, look, I wish there were more games like Souls or whatever else, and there's like a picture of Will Smith pointing to all the Armored Core games. To which the immediate reply from a bunch of folks over on the gaming Reddit there, like, no, they're totally different. They're not at all similar. Like, I was considering just going through AC3 and Silent Line and just like pointing out all the different ways that they're pretty much a remix of the exact same thing. Like those ones in particular, just because they show a map. So they're like, look, here's layered, here's all the different bits and pieces, here's 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 all these different routes. Then you go back to all those different areas, and then you explore each of them farther. And then if you explore out of the way stuff, you find more neat equipment and things like that. You run into NPCs every now and then who react differently based on how you go throughout the story, and like it's a lot of the same stuff. Like the main difference between the two of them, aside from the whole mech thing, because I'm talking about mechanically though, is like instead of Estus, you're managing ammo. That's about it. Because you're still doing the same thing. You're still having all your fights run into strafing. You're still kind of awkwardly, rigidly standing up, which, granted, changed in Sekiro and stuff like that. There's technically not leveling, but you're still customizing your your overall stats through your optional system and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I think they're the same. But, oh well. Oh well. Doesn't look like we have any invisible golems here. Go ahead and go over here. Of course, saying that, I've got a hell of a lot of stuff to get done today, so that might be next week or whatever. We'll see. We will see. Or if I find time today, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. We're gonna test maybe 2 or 3 more maps. See if I can run into any more of them. And then if we don't, we don't. Might have been a very one-off thing. Yeah, not even any golems on this one. I wonder if there's an instant win cheat out there. Might be a little bit faster than this, actually. Like, just in case it was missed somehow, this right here is just a testing thing. This is not anything you can achieve. Well, kind of, sorta. I believe part of this cheat was actually used for one of the skills, because ninjas have a skill called Wild Hunt that allows them to. What is this? No, he doesn't have one anymore. Just that. Yeah, ninjas have a skill called Wild Hunt, which basically lets them use 2 movements in 1 turn. So that mess looks a hell of a lot like this, is all I'm saying. So it's probably some similar aspect of something or other that it activates. Like, I just imagine Rakes' screen must just look like what's his face from the Matrix. Like, it's not Mouse. What was his face? The techie guy. I don't remember. Dude guy that gets all electrocuted and then somehow is perfectly fine to save the entire series a little bit later. Because that's a thing people get up from, you know. It's like, you know, somebody touching a wire, maybe. Somebody taking a friggin', like, massive current with a wire that's as big as their friggin' torso. Yeah, I don't think they're getting back up from that. Especially if they're not exactly the most physically imposing to begin with. Oh, look at that parry. This guy's messing with our time control powers. This guy. What's your parry? Yeah, by the way, these ones weren't touched. So these random fights are still gonna have nothings. Basically, only set battles for Chapter 1 have been messed with on an experimental basis so far. So I guess technically speaking, I shouldn't even be over here. Come to think of it, yeah, there's no way he would have done it. Whatever. We'll do one more map. And I'll probably just call it for today. So we can go get more stuff done. Right. There we go. Done deal. you look like a map that could have some golems on it. And let's see if I'm correct on that. And you may notice that, yeah, boulder golems technically don't exist anymore, and I have one. So I think what it is, it's probably boulder golems in particular that technically wouldn't have anything to load in. So it's probably any place that would spawn a boulder golem, because the flesh golems seem just fine. They're their own thing. So, actually no, these are just basic golems. So yeah, basic golems just fine. Boulder golems, I guess not. So if they would have been iron or stone, they're fine. If they would have been boulder, they're not. Would be my guess. Technically, I have one on the team, but that's because it's just kind of there. It was already there when the file loaded. Like if I go back to it. Yeah, if I go back to it here, technically speaking, like, he can't change classes or anything. He is an entity that does not exist. So that's always fun. But anyway, so I gotta get going then. Thank you guys for stopping by, and yeah, have an awesome one. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you when I see you. Take care.